Mhm. Well, all right, we should be live. So, welcome to the Fall Camp Updates live stream. I'm joined by All Americans linebacker Jack Puckett, quarterback Jett Huff, and offensive lineman Montriel Lee. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking time on your off day to come on and talk to me. Before we get into it, first, I know all three of you all were at Media Day. I know Jett and Jack were up there with Coach during our media session. Just kind of what was that experience like for you all representing the team and the university?
I mean, it was a good experience, and also getting to talk to some other coaches and other players. Um, I know, they're excited as much as we are, and it's always an honor representing your university. And I think it was also special, having all the captains there instead of just taking two guys like most teams do. Um, so it was a nice little trip, and thought it was good having everybody there.
Yeah, kind of what Jett said, or like Jett said, it was nice. I mean, it was my first time ever getting to participate in something like that, and all our first times. So it was just cool to like do that for the first time and kind of, like Jett said, put eyes on just some of the other coaches and players in our conference off the field. Maybe talk a little bit, and then get up there and have the chance to express what you feel and how we feel about our squad heading into the season, and kind of listen to how others describe theirs too, even when they're not on the field.
Yeah, most definitely to piggyback off what Jack said, for it to be our first time going, it was very welcoming. You know, we enjoyed representing our team. Meeting some of the other players and the coaches, have fun talking to them as well, just talking a little bit of football. So we definitely did enjoy ourselves.
And to Jed, I commend you on keeping your composure there because I mean they kind of butchered your name like three times. I'm listening to it, and then they like introduce you as like Jeff Hunt, and then it was like then it was like Jet Hunt, and I'm like, how are we butchering this man's name? It's such a simple name. Like I could see if it's I don't know like mine. But I mean, it's like how are we butchering his? I was like, oh, I feel so bad for Jet in this situation. So I commend you though for taking that in stride because I mean I'm sure that had to have been like really you just it's like you mess up Jet off.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's been happening for a long, long time. So I can live with Jeff Huff because I've gotten that a lot, but switching both names was not the first time. But you don't like to see it, but it is what it is.
Oh, that's just tough. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what? A man's an All American, and we can't. I was like, that's just unfortunate. That's just unfortunate. And then to Montrell. Now, earlier this offseason, you have put your name in the portal. You have withdrawn your name. You are back. Kind of talk about what led to your decision to come back, play your last year of football, with the two gentlemen here and the rest of the guys in that locker room.
Well, UCO is always going to be a home, and so is Oklahoma. So, me just having to talk with my mom, just it being my last year, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, I just really wanted my mama, watch me play for my last year. I didn't want her to have to struggle, to have to travel, to watch me play.
Okay, okay. And I know we lost JMO and Noah Dobson to graduation. So call out contingent kind of dropped. I know we signed two this year. I was like, well, this is unfortunate for Montreal because you're still gonna have to hear it. But I do know, I believe Darius Hampton is a former Dell City guy. I have to ask the question: how good does it feel now for you to have another Dell City Eagle in there to back you up when this Carl Albert trash talk inevitably comes your way this season?
Oh, it feels good. It's not only Carl Albert, it's Bixby too, but we don't really argue. We just, they kind of stay out of it. They kind of got their own little arguments. But yeah, Carl Albert and Bixby, we don't like neither one.
We don't have anything that needs to be said.
That's why we don't argue with them.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing to talk about. We already know.
Yeah, that's right.
wait. So, okay, wait now. Now, what is the Dell City Bigsby argument come into play? Because I feel like in Dell City 5A, first of all, and then Bigsby kind of like runs the state. So I'm confused as to where this is coming from here.
Because I played Bixby twice, and both times I played him was in the second round of playoffs, and neither one of them went as planned, nowhere near as planned. And Carl Albert always thought they had a chance to beat Bixby. So when Carl Albert finally played Bixby, I forgot what the score was. I just know I turned the TV off. I know that. So neither one of us liked Bixby, and Dell City just never got along with Carl Albert.
That's great. That's great. I got the Jack now from the Bixby side of things. Like, was this known to be a thing? Like, was this news to you when this first came up? Like, what kind of was your view on this when this was brought to your attention?
Man, I mean, it's not really news to us. Like, no one likes us. No one can beat us. But what we can do, we can just beat everyone and beat the common enemy. And then, like Trell said, we really settled Carl Albert and Dell City's beef because they've got one thing in common when it comes to Bixby,
Hey, not too much, man.
Too much.
This guy love it. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, with that out of the way, I posed a question to all three of you. How has fall camp been going for you all so far? I know the pads came on yesterday. How is it?
I'd say so far, like the camp has been similar to how it was like a year ago today, in that it's super competitive. But the best thing about it is we've brought everybody back. We got a lot of returners, and I mean that's just going to make it more competitive than last year. And we know what last year's camp led to, the success it led to. So it's really nice kind of having that blueprint in our head and understanding the level of preparation we have to be putting in camp, and just how violent and intentional we got to be, like with what we're doing out there and what it can lead to. So it's been a great camp, and it's flown by because guys are so locked in and just trying to ball out every chance they get. So I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been, just like Jack said, really, really competitive. That's every single, team period of the day. But, our coaches like to say, be competitive, but don't be combative. And I think, for the most part, we do a really good job with that. After the team period, going over and, dapping people up, fist bumps, and, you're being as competitive as you can, but when it's time to not be, you have to be, you're still a team at the end of the day. It's never going to be offense versus defense. So knowing that, defense is going to get us some days, offense is going to get them some days, That's what you really do want to see in camp. You don't ever want it to be lopsided, and I think it's pretty split down the middle, but all coming together and kind of appreciating each other's work and the competitiveness of it. I think it's really good to see.
Yeah, I agree with what both of them said. Practice is very competitive. We talk noise in between the lines, but outside the lines, we're pitching out compliments and ways that we can improve each other. On and off the field, and just like Jett said, like one day it can be offense, one day it can be defense, but that's part of having a good football team.
And for Jett now, obviously there's some new faces in that wide receiver room for you. How was the chemistry building of with the new guys in that unit?
Yeah, it's going really well, and they're all playmakers too. And they all show flashes at practice. But what I think I appreciate the most is every single one of them has the desire to learn and get better, and know that they're not really entitled to anything. They got to go out and earn it. And that really goes for everybody. Everybody feels that way. But, they're asking questions all practice long. Hey, does that look right? Am I in the right spot and whatnot? So it's really reassuring for me knowing those guys, really do care and want to learn and get better. And, you can see the improvement, day in and day out. So I think they're getting a lot better and they're, right up to speed.
And for Montriel, now I learned, I was yesterday, the other day, something like that. Now there's 25 defensive linemen that you're going against in practice. Now I have to ask, of a task is that, like, to see 25 guys just like constantly rolling in there? And what have you seen from that unit so far that maybe should give fans some hope that despite a couple of graduations, that there's still plenty of talent and guys in there that's going to live up to the standard that was set last
year? Seeing a different face every rep, is hard within itself. Trying to prepare yourself for what is this guy a power guy? Is he a speed the bull? Is he a finesse? So all that thing plays hand in hand. So I could definitely say we definitely brought a lot of people in that can do all of that, and they should be looking out for it. As far as the speed to power, speed to bull, we got some new guys up front, down in the trenches, and we also got some people on the edge that can fly off the field and make plays.
And for Jack, now you all returned fairly intact. I mean, I know there was few graduations, obviously no with Zion, but like having the bulk of you all's room back, kind of how has that been? Really, kind of already having that, maybe those bonds, that relationship, that chemistry, and how do you all feeling you are building off of the success you all had, last year in order to kind of up you all's game, which is very tough to do. But.
Right. I mean, like you said, we lost some key guys, some really good ball players that were veterans. But the best thing about bringing the bulk of the room back is everyone's just a year older. I mean, we're a room full of old guys that have played a ton of football and still have years left. Like you said, like we're close off the bat. We have the bonds already, and more than anything is you bring people back, but then you also add people in, which just equals a ton of depth. Like, I mean, we'll probably travel 8-9 linebackers, and all of them, they're going to play key roles in special teams, but they can all freaking go whenever it's their turn to get put in. And we've seen it all camp. Like, I've gotten to play with different Sam linebackers and different Will linebackers all camp, and I've been impressed by all of them. We're just a laced-up group that knows the scheme, and we grade out well. Everyone's going to do their job. They just play real selfless and can really get down. So I love my room, and I'm really excited to see what we can produce or how we produce this season.
And for Jett now, you're the elder statesman in that quarterback room. Obviously, with Dawson gone, you're now an upperclassman as well. How has the maybe the more enhanced leadership, being that older guy now, how is that going for you now? Kind of being like the guy within that room.
Yeah, I think as you get, year to year and you get older, you have to tailor, different ways to lead to, like, who you're talking to. So that's a lot in, like, learning your players, and you have to figure out who responds to what, the best. So some guys respond good if you just go up and, like, rip them a new one. But some guys, that kind of, they'll shut down a little bit. And you just kind of have to learn, guy to guy, how they respond to what type of leadership. I think that's, the next step, not really me, but like the other three guys in here have done as well. And just knowing your different guys and, how should I, coach up this guy compared to this other one. And that way you're not, it's people feel more seen, I think, especially when you do that with younger guys. And not only the older guys, but you just got to know each guy, I think, and how they respond to what. And I think that's how you get the best results as a leader.
We have a question from Mr. Doug Williams. Mr. Williams, sir, first, I appreciate your support there over last year and this year as well. He has a question for Jett. He asks, how's the receivers looking?
Yeah, I mean, they look great. Like kind of said earlier, work ethic and the want to learn is what sticks out to me the most. But a lot of speed in there, a lot of size. Guys can do multiple different things and attack different parts of the field, and it's going to be a group effort for sure because there's a bunch of guys in there that can all go and stretch out the field as well as being really good in space. So I'm excited for that unit, and sky's the limit for them.
And for Montriel now, you all also return a good amount on the offensive line. Obviously, Noah's graduated. But like as a unit overall, how do you feel you all have gone about building off the numbers offensively? We don't score the points that we score if it wasn't for you all's blocking. So how has that been going in terms of trying to ensure that this year is even better than it was last year?
We really just all feed off each other's energy. We're the majority on the field, so we always tell each other, if something hits the fan, adversity or even when things going right, like we're gonna be the people that's gonna carry the offense no matter what. It's only one running back on the field, one quarterback on the field, so we really should try to feed off each other and make sure everybody's heads is high.
And now for all three of you all now, I know this is you. I think Jack kind of touched on this earlier. Like you've all been through the experience of fall camp before. You've all now been through the experience of fall camp here at UCO, and I think Kaizen's done a good job of kind of showing like a day in the life of what fall camp is like. I thought people don't understand. Like it's truly almost sun up to like sundown type of thing. But as you all have gone through this, what kind of are some ways or some tricks that you've learned to maybe like lessen the burden on you all physically or mentally? Like is there any things that you do different now compared to maybe your first or second fall camp?
I know one thing for me, and like it's kind of cliche and you hear it all the time, but like I prioritize my sleep more now that I ever have any other time or any other camp before this. And then like I don't know, I've started to like kind of lock more into my nutrition and stuff too. And I know they're kind of cliche answers, but as you start to get a little older, you'd be surprised at how much just checking those two things, checking those boxes can really help with performance. And then another part of it, I think, has to do with our strength conditioning program, which, in my opinion, is one of the best in the country. How well prepared our bodies were for camp is, I mean, it's really shown as a week into camp, and we've had pads on for a few days. And, I mean, we're still flying around and moving, even if you have nicks and bruises and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, really, my strength conditioning, along with prioritizing my sleep and kind of just changing the way I eat so that my body looks the way I want it to look, but then also I can move the way I want to move at the size that I am. That's kind of how I've treated this camp compared to others, and it's definitely paying dividends for me.
I feel like I could say for me, sleep will be one of the biggest things. I'm a gamer, so I definitely like to stay up and play the game all night. But the schedule's a lot more packed now, so sleep. And what Jack said as well, the strength and conditioning program, I really do like it. They prioritize, taking care of our body, making sure we're loose and healthy, and just being able to be available at all times.
Yeah, big time on sleep. Because that's going to be your biggest recovery tool, along with nutrition. But they both said it too. The strength staff does a really good job with getting your legs back under you while also trying to build strength and speed while we're full go at practice. So it's really just kind of how you approach it, though. I think a lot of it's mental. So after you get a couple camps under you, you know how you need to treat it.
Now, watch out now, because it's been a minute now. I know you said you're a gamer. Now, what was your game of choice again?
It really is Black Ops, but since camp started, I've been on EA. I've been trying to get my mind right, get them X and O's so I can think fast.
Okay, now when we say are we talking Madden or CFB 2026?
No, we talking about that college football. I'm like a Jett Huff in Ultimate Team now. I'm out there slinging that thing left and right. You blitz me, I'm running RPOs. Like, yeah, I'm doing all that. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, most definitely. I'm a Jett Huff out there.
Yeah, now wait. Okay, now because I never played Ultimate Team. That's just not my thing. But I know you get like different cards and stuff like that. So now when you play, like what is the offensive strategy that you use when you're playing Ultimate Team and playing the game in general?
Run tempo and score the ball as fast as you can.
Like, doesn't the wear and tear get to you though?
Now, when you make reads like Jett Huff, it take about 3 or 4. Take about 3 or 4 of them things, and we walking in the end zone.
Okay, now I like it. Now you say you're like Jett Huff and quarterback. Now that's a very lofty comparison though. Like I feel like in order to verify this, we need Jett to sit down and witness you play this, so he can then verify if you are to his level or not. Because I mean, I don't want to put you in the same category as J-Mo, but now we know J-Mo claims he was the S tier Madden player on the team, but no one that I talked to was able to verify that. So now I just
You're right. You're right.
Said,
you know what?
Maybe you want Jett to sit in, verify this so we don't go down there because that kind of was a bad look for JMO.
No,
That he's claiming this,
I love your
and
idea. I actually
nobody's
love
saying
your
that this
idea.
was a fact.
Yeah, I love your idea. I think actually Jett should come over and watch me play a game. Jack could probably, Jack can come over and watch me too and let him. I'm gonna tell him what I think the defense is doing, and I'm gonna just tell Jett my reads. I ain't saying I'm perfect, but I'm gonna just tell Jett my reads. He can kind of give me a look, or he can kind of nod his head like I feel you, and he's just gonna see what I can do.
I wish real football was like Madden.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit easier.
No, for real though.
He also says his quarterback's like me, but I don't think they make the 5'8" option for franchise quarterback. It's probably got him at 6'4". Not quite as accurate. He's laughing because it's probably true.
We have a question from Mr. Sean Swanson. Mr. Swanson, I appreciate your support, sir. He asked, and I guess I'll pose this to probably Jett and Jack because they might know better. He asked, how is the back half of the defense looking this year so far?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with those guys, both our safety room and our corners. We've done a good job every semester of adding depth at that position. And then, I think of guys like David Williams and Braden Waters, and Willie Rice, who have taken up the leadership roles for that room. So one, the culture in the back end is the best I've ever seen it. The talent in the back end is the best I've ever seen it. The speed is my big takeaway. Those guys have gotten a lot faster, both physically through strength and conditioning training, but also within our scheme. We looked back at last season and a big takeaway was just we have to limit the amount of mental busts we have that gives up an explosive play. And we've done that scheme wise, and then just personnel wise. I'm extremely excited to have who I will have behind me this upcoming season. So those guys are impressive right now and going to be a strength in our defense.
Yeah, they are very physical and very fast. And they're all over the field at all times and just very physical. I think that's what I've noticed the most. They get hands on you, and it's hard to stay on track and routes and stuff when some of those guys get their hands on you, and redirecting and whatnot, and they're just all over the field every day. They fly around. Coach Swanson's done a really good job building up, that part of the defense, and so they're such a deep room too. We've got so many guys that can play back there, and they make it tough on me in practice for sure.
And now I have to ask him because Jack mentioned David, and he's a captain. He's the full captain along with you all. Now when he talked to me, he mentioned that he's, and I'm paraphrasing here, a real suave guy. Now, would that be an accurate statement? Would David Williams be considered a suave guy in you all's opinion here? Because I was surprised when he said that because I was not aware. When I could have missed that, but would you say that that's an accurate statement from him?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes. D Will's one of the guys, very much a suave guy. He's just impressed me the entire time he's been here, and is all about team, all about growing together. Just it's been refreshing for him to see how he's immersed himself just in the culture that we've built and start to help us. So yeah, big suave guy. Stoked to be playing with him another season.
Yeah, I can agree to that as well. I gave him a nickname called Celsius. That's like the energy drink he drinks, and I gave him that nickname just because he's just known for just how can I say this? he gives positive energy. You know, he spreads it around to everybody, even with the specs. Like I said, the DBs and even the O line. You know, sometimes he's down there talking noise to us, and outside the lines, you know, he's dapping us up, telling us we made a good block.
Jade, you got anything to add on the David Williams Suave train?
No, I mean they hit the nail on the head. He's the best guy ever, but he will knock the crap out of you. I mean, he can go sideline to sideline, and he's a true ball hawk. But he is a great guy too. He's so fun to talk to. He's such a good teammate. You know, like Jack said, he's all team and growing together. And he's really funny too. Just one of the best dudes. He's a team favorite, no doubt.
And you three, along with I think Jalen, David, and Zach. I keep missing some. And Andrew. I think you all are team captains. Now, what does it mean to you all to be in the position of team captain?
That's probably like, I mean, at this point, I've had a pretty fulfilling career at UCO. I mean, I've gotten to be a first-team All-American and conference champion. But, like, the things that mean the most to me is just being a team captain. And I'm blessed. This is my third season being one. I mean, it just means, like, your guys trust you. And, like, I'm probably one of our more vocal leaders. And sometimes you got to wonder, like, am I over the top? Are guys even buying into this and believing it? And then once you see you get voted as team captain, it's just like, okay, it's kind of all coming together. Like, really how much I'm trying to pour into these guys and build trust and good relationship with them. It's starting to pay off. And, I mean, that's probably my biggest, or the accolade that I take the most pride in, you know. So it means a ton to me, and it's the best feeling getting to be like the tip of the spear when we go out on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's the highest honor I think you can get as a player, because it's kind of a reflection of what your teammates think of you, and you know that's not something you take lightly at all, and you take great pride in that. And I think it just makes you want to be, I mean, even better player and leader. So I do think it's the best honor you can have as a football player. And, you know, you're just always thankful that, you know, you make an impact on your team.
Yeah, it's really a blessing, you know, to be in this position. I can say that your teammates have to trust you for you to be in this position, and you know it just proves that you invested in them and they invested in you, and it's just another reason to genuinely motivate you every day to keep proving to yourself, to be the best you can be.
All right, not to ask Jett. Now, I saw you changed numbers from 2 to 3 this year. That I feel like some people might have been kind of surprised because I mean you have wearing number 2, so I figure you probably would keep it. So why the change to number 3 this year?
Yeah, I've worn number 3 for a really long time. Ever since youth football, that was the number my dad wore when he played football, and I chose that at a young age, and I have a lot of pride in that number. A lot of history in that number, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to wear it last year. And the 2 years previous, didn't get to do that either. But I knew, whenever the first chance I could get 3, I was going to do it. So 2 is more just a number to me, but 3, I have so much more pride in that number. And I'm really excited to finally put it on after 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Well, makes sense. Yeah, I was sort of in the picture. I was like, all right, so Jack's the same number, Trell's the same number, Jalen's the same number, Andrew's the same number, Zach's the same number. Oh, Jett's okay. Well, there we go. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. I guess what in you all's opinion is the most difficult or hardest part of fall camp?
Probably like you said, it's sun up to sundown, which makes for a long day, right? Well, now put 14 of them together. That's the hard part, is being who you say you are, who others think you are every day. Like, I mean, you're going to get beat up. You're going to be tired. How are you going to show up and be the team captain that everyone voted for, or even the scout team guy that everyone's counting on to give whatever look it might be? Like, that's who you are. That's who you say you are. How are you going to wake up and be that for the team for 14 days straight? That was a pretty strenuous stretch. That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah, it's just so mundane, and you always get lost in the days, and you never know what day it is. I thought it was Saturday, like 3 days in a row, I think, until somebody said something. But it just feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and it is hard to wake up and be the same guy because you just get so tired and worn out. But kind of goes back to having a little bit of experience in camp. You know, you got to have a certain mentality you bring and do your best to be that same guy every day because it does get you get tired pretty quick. So it's definitely a big mental challenge.
Yeah, it definitely is it definitely is hard being the same guy every day. You know, when you got the same schedule for, 15, 16 days in a row. Like Jess said, I went home the other day to see my mom and I thought it was Wednesday for some reason. Like I was completely confused and I just had to tell her, like, I don't check the days, I just check the schedule. Like just make sure I'm there on time. And that's usually the hardest part, just waking up. But, once you're there and you kind of just, remember your why and why you're motivated, it's really not a problem being there no more. I'm more excited than anything.
And mentally now, going from last year you all were 5-6, being the Hunters. Now you come into the season defending conference champs and go to the Hunted. Mentally, how do you feel like you all are in that department of getting prepared to defend the conference championship and try to make a deeper run in the postseason?
I feel really well prepared. I mean, it's hard to like talk about all that already because of course that's the end goal, but you have to be process oriented. Like us three right now, like that's all our goals. We want rings, right? We want to send our seniors out the right way. But like all I can think about is like Trill said, waking up tomorrow morning and getting back to work, and then doing that consistently at the level that we can do it at, that we've proved that we can do it at, that the strength and conditioning has prepared us to do it at, to then eventually look up and call it 12 weeks and be like, all right, this is it again. We're back in the playoffs. We now have to, well, keep doing what we're doing, but really like go make a run at this thing. Because now that we've been there before, we know how to travel in the playoffs. We kind of know what it feels like to be there. That's our biggest advantage right now, is given that we make it back there, being there before. Like we know how it feels, and I feel pretty primed and ready to make another run at it.
Yeah, you have to do a good job at making the goals and the standards clear without getting lost in it. Because it is really, really easy to get lost, and we need to win this amount of games. And have this many yards and, hold opponents to this many points, to the point where that's all you end up thinking about. So we have done a good job at not doing that while making the standards and goals very clear. And, just like Jack said, you got to – the only thing on your mind needs to be, waking up the next day and going and putting your best foot forward at practice that day, and not I hope we win this game or I hope we make it back here. You just need to know that that's a future goal that can be accomplished by handling business today.
Yeah, I agree. We got a lot of goals, set for the future that I pray we do accomplish them all. But, the biggest saying that we always say is, be where our feet are and take it day by day. And, the little things matter first. So we can't expect to win a natty without winning tomorrow. You know what I mean?
We have some questions here from some viewers. The first from Miss Jenna Roberts. Miss Roberts, I appreciate you commenting here. She asks, is there any standout freshman this year?
I don't get to work with them super close just throughout fall camp. I mean, of course, there's a depth chart, and when we do split up into our team periods, one guy is usually separated from us. We had a scrimmage yesterday, though, and the last 12 plays was all threes or deeper on the depth chart, which was super fun. Watching those kids finally get to cut it loose, and go out there and play together. I was super impressed by our freshman D line. We've got some dudes in there, and more than anything, they were just on the go. Like when they got their chance, there wasn't too much thinking out there. Dudes were just playing. So I was impressed by that group of guys. We've got a couple of funny freshman linebackers, Waylon and Court, that I don't know. We like to give crap every now and then, but are going to turn into good players for us. But I just enjoy bringing these young guys in and kind of just guiding them, showing the ropes. And then in 2 years, you're going to look up and they might be studs or about to have a breakout season. But more than anything, they're going to be a big part of the program. So been impressed with the whole group, but that D line was impressive yesterday.
Yeah, and I could say the same thing about the O-line. There some of them picking up on terms that I didn't even know as a freshman. And, I give them props for that. But, the biggest thing that stand out the most with our offense being tempo, even when they don't know what's going on, they just fire off the ball 100%, even if they're making a mistake. And, we can live with that. We can teach the X and O's later down the road.
Yeah, I think their freshmen this year are really physically mature too. There's not too many guys coming in looking like they had no strength and conditioning foundation in high school. I think that's a really good sign of, that they're going to be good in the future. But there's always a learning curve for those guys, but I think they're doing a really, really good job at, picking up as much knowledge as they can, and they come ready to work every day.
And then we have another question. As what are the chances we'll see the two Puckett brothers on the field at the same time?
Ooh, that'd be dangerous.
That's a good question.
That'd be dangerous. I tell you.
That's a great question. I mean, selfishly, of course, I want that to happen. And in all seriousness, there's a good chance of it happening. I mean, Hank's a part of those 8 or 9 guys that I was talking about us traveling. He's going to make the bus. He's going to play a key role in special teams, and he's fighting his butt off every day in camp right now to earn a spot in our linebacker rotation. Like I said, we're a deep room, we're a talented room, which has pros and cons. I mean, the pros is I was talking about earlier. I've played with different Sams and Wheels all camp. One of those wheels has been Hank, as he takes his reps at Mike too. But I've played with 4 different wheels this camp, and he's been one of them. So there's a good chance that him and I will get some in-game reps together. I'm hyped for that. That's going to be super cool. He's had a really good last couple of days in camp, so there'll be no fall off when he's in there. And I mean, with him coming in, it'll actually probably make me play better because I mean that's little brother next to me. Like I'm not going to let him get all the tackles, or I'm not going to let him get jacked up by some dude across the line either. You know, so pretty excited for it. Good question.
And I want to ask all three of y'all something that Jack had mentioned, about like in 2 years that this freshman will be impact guys. All of you are upperclassmen, and I feel like kind of a big part of that is making sure that when you're done, that the standard set is upheld by that next crop. What how do you all kind of go about that? Ensuring that even after you all are done, that the standard that you all established doesn't, leave with you all. What kind of are you all doing to kind of help prepare that, group of men to come and build off of the standard that you all are currently setting?
I feel first, we're just proving to them that nobody is bigger than the standard. And, we are the culture at the end of the day. So, if the culture fails, the team fails. And, that's something that we thrive upon. We're a player-led team. So it starts with us.
Yeah, I mean, that was well said by Trell. Like you said, we've become a culture-driven football team, and that's the hardest football team to beat. I want to give major props to Doral and just the entire coaching staff. We're player-led because we've been given the freedom to do so, and that started when Doral got here. So we've gone. I think what's very cool about it is we have gone 6-5, 5-6, and then had the success that we had last year. All 3 of those seasons, we were player-led football teams. Don't get that wrong. We've just grown as leaders and figured out what it takes to be a winning player-led football team. And that's not a shot towards our leaders back then. There's just always something to get better at. And it's a very hard a very hard conference to win a lot of games in, which means you have to be, you have to have really good leaders. And I think we've done that. So, just being a culture-driven team is where we get a lot of our success from. And that's going to live on once we're gone. I mean, that's the standard. And it's not going to look the same as it does right now. I mean, these kids are going to take what we give them and run with it and make it their own eventually. And that's the super cool part about it. Like, it's not a linear thing. You don't just do X, Y, Z and win. You have to approach different guys the way they need approached in order to get them to a spot that's going to help our team. So, yeah, just setting the standard and living up to the culture.
Yeah, I think it's important for those young guys seeing that the standard that is set works and has resulted in some success, and knowing that we don't just do the things we do just because we want to or we feel like it. But it is a big reason that we had success last year, and that hopefully that carries over into this year. But it's kind of like Jack said, no 2 teams are going to look the same. And, your leaders tailor that to whoever's on the roster. And, hopefully they take bits and pieces of the leaders here now so that they can kind of mold who they want to be in the future, be a leader for those teams to come.
And for you all as current leaders, like, how do you kind of figure out or find your own identity when it comes to that? Because obviously, you've had good leaders before that you can take things from, but obviously you've got to kind of incorporate your own style to that. How do each of you kind of go about figuring that out what your leadership style has or needs to be?
I think it starts with like what you're comfortable with. Like we've got great leaders on our team and have had great leaders on our team that don't really utter a word. Like for example, Dylan Buckeye, extremely quiet human being, but one of the best leaders we have on the team just with his work ethic and whatnot. And so that's example A of being a good leader. And then really, like the way I've found that it helps me is like just developing relationships. Like before I ever yell at a kid, I'm gonna know him first, so that he knows he's getting yelled at by someone that knows him and cares about him, and maybe even shares some things in common. Um, so I think to answer your question, like it's very relationship based. Um, have a deep rooted relationship with someone before you can lead them, and then like your leadership style really comes as you develop those relationships. Like it all has to do with personality. Like even us three are very different. It kind of like has to do with who you've taken inspiration from as well. So the leaders that have impacted me kind of definitely come out in the leadership traits that I use. So I'd say those have been the biggest things I focus on as a leader and kind of what's led me to my leadership style nowadays.
Yeah, I think, for me, my dad being a high school football coach, I've been around football, my whole life, and always seeing, his quarterbacks and how each of them have carried themselves. You take things from each of them, and kind of make it into your own. But it's just like Jack said, you got to know the dudes you're leading, or else it might not mean anything to them if they don't think that you really care about them. So getting those relationships with those guys and knowing them personally first before stepping into that leadership role is definitely the most important thing you do as a leader.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's a mentality thing. Like at least for the position I play, on the field, I want to be aggressive. I want to do this. I want to do that. But off the field, I can be goofy. I can pull you to the side and just talk to you one on one. And like, even though you may mess up on something, like yes, we want you to do better, but we can still laugh about it and while we correct it. But on the field, it may not be funny at the moment. We're gonna have to have a serious conversation. Like we need to get together, make a game plan. We need to execute it to next drive.
We have another question from Mr. Williams. he asked payback for Pitt this year.
Yes, I mean you never want to give someone like bulletin board material, so I'm not gonna completely drag Pitt on here or anything. But look, I mean they're another good program in this conference. Always are. I mean they're one of the most historic Division II programs out there. So of course we would like to knock them off this season, especially with them being our only loss from last season. So it's always fun, and I've seen recent rankings where they're up there with us, and I mean those are always the most fun games without a doubt because both teams know in order to win, you can't show up and either start slow or hold anything back. Like when we play them and when we see them and they see us, it's very mutual. Everyone knows like it's going to be pedal to the metal for 4 quarters, and the best team's going to win. So looking forward to that one again. Hoping we can knock them off this season.
Yeah, they're a great football program, and they're going to be good year in and year out. So it's always a challenge. Those are the games you live for. So I expect it to be nothing less than a great matchup. Week 2.
Yeah, I agree. Like Jett and Jack said, they're a great program. Good players. So we both gonna bring our best, and we'll see the outcome when the day comes.
And then now for Trell, because now you are a senior, so you are, at least in terms of your collegiate career, you are running out of snaps. This being the last go round for you, how are you approaching it? How do you kind of plan to make the most out of the snaps that you have left?
Man, honestly, I have this conversation with myself every night before I go to sleep. Like, I'm treating every game like it's my senior night. I'm leaving it out there on the line. And that's the only way I can explain it.
Oh, let's see. Okay, I guess my I don't question that I can think of at the moment. Is I pose it to each of you. What is the thing that you're most wanting to focus on to improve on through the rest of fall camp heading into that season opener?
I know for me, I mean, there's football and scheme specific things I'd like to focus on. I mean, just becoming or continuing to become an even smarter football player. The older you get at linebacker, just the smarter you want to be. I mean, ideally, you want to be the IQ of Jett Huff at middle linebacker. And what I mean by that is just knowing what's going to happen before it happens, knowing where your one-on-one matchup's going to happen pre-snap, so that you can go on ahead and already have a plan on how to beat them. And that's probably my favorite part of football uh, as I move forward through fall camp, because it's where a lot of my success comes from. So just crossing my T's and dotting my I's the rest of camp. That way, when live bullets start to fire down in Odessa, that I can just produce for the team like I know I can.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's always things you want to work on scheme wise, but one thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is just staying process driven and, you know, trying to think about what it's going to look like when we put it together and not what it looks like tomorrow morning at noon when practice is over. It is tough to not be frustrated, maybe if you don't have your best practice, because you're not going to have your best practice every day. You might have your best practice half the time. But if you're doing the right things every day, you have to look past results sometimes and know that, I'm taking the right steps to be successful. And if I'm not successful today, well, at least I'm doing the right thing to be, and it will come at some point. Because we all know we're not going to play the best game ever every game. There's going to be so many challenges during the season. And, being able to critique yourself and move on after bad plays is tough. But sticking to that process and not getting caught up in, did I have a great day or did I have a bad day? Just more thinking about, did I do the right thing today to make myself better, and not really worrying about, how many touchdowns or interceptions you had in the practice.
I could say I want to continue to keep growing closer as a team, keep working on our chemistry. I know adversity is going to strike a handful of times throughout the season. And, it's going to take a collective effort from all of us. And, the closer we are, the better we'll be able to attack it.
Well, before I let you all go now, we know preseason has started now. I know Jett, tried and true loyal Kansas City fan. You feeling confident to the Super Bowl and hoist up Barty again this year?
You always want to. And as long as you got 15 at the helm, I think you got a chance. But last year I was going around saying we're going to go three-peat. Didn't happen, so I should probably shut my mouth on that and just sit there and watch games and just enjoy them one at a time. Maybe treat it a little bit more like our season, trust the process. So practice what you preach with the Chiefs. So no, but you got 15 back there. You got a chance. So I'm ready.
Okay, now Montrell. Now I know you were more of a Tom Brady guy. I can't remember who you said currently is your favorite team.
I really don't have one. Like, you correct. It was just Tom Brady and Gronk. You know, I'm still searching. I ain't trying to be a bandwagon. I could tell you Thunder Up, though. You know, I could definitely tell you Thunder Up. But, you know, I ain't trying to just pick a football team. You know, next time I pick, I got to choose wisely. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now I mean, if we wanted to stay with Tom Brady, you know, he is like part owner of the Raiders. So I mean, I feel like, you know, even though I'm sure the QB wouldn't appreciate it, you know, I mean, you could always be a Las Vegas Raiders fan. I mean, I don't know how enjoyable of an existence.
See, that's the thing. I was watching
You know,
the
that's an
Raiders the other
option if
day,
you
and
wanted to stay with, you know, TB12.
I don't know. I was watching the Raiders the other day, and it's just like, you know, they got Ashton Genty, but, you know, I play O-line, so I gotta have somebody, you know, I want to watch up front where I'm like, yep, run behind that guy right there, and I don't see it with the Raiders, you know.
Well, I mean, they got Colton Miller now. You know, I thought he was a solid offensive lineman. You know,
I mean, man, I need like a Trent Williams, a Panay Sue. That's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to run behind them. We need Trent Williams and Panay Sewells out here. Detroit Lions mentality.
Gonna be a Chiefs fan, Creed Humphrey.
Yes, there we go, Jett. Help me out now.
Yeah,
help
Trey
me out
Smith,
now.
highest paid guard in the NFL.
Yeah, help me out now, Jett. Help me out.
You're gonna come to the AFC West. Be a Chiefs fan. Eight straight now? 8 straight division champs. So choose wisely.
You're right, Jett. You're right. Yeah. Before I make a decision, I'm gonna make sure y'all name is circled twice.
Okay.
Before I make a decision, so I look at anybody, I'm like, well, Chiefs is circled 3 times already. So
hey, Creed Humphrey's an Oklahoma boy. So
yeah, he is from what? It was the Shawnee.
Shawnee, I think. Yeah,
that is crazy. He did go to Shawnee.
yes, Shawnee, yeah. Okay. I mean, listen, I tried to make the Tom Brady sales pitch. I truly did, but, you know, I know it's gonna be a tough sell with Jett sitting right there. Like, you know, so I had to at least make the offer them, and could have said you could be a Broncos fan. You know, hop on the Bo Nix train. That, you know,
man.
I don't know where that would get you, but
you know, the closest thing would be the Chiefs. You know, I'm used to I'm Tom Brady. I'm used to being a winner, man. You know, I'm used to being a team of winning quarterbacks. So, you know, it might end up being that man, number 15.
Okay, but then that would go against what you just said about not wanting to be a bandwagon fan, though, because I feel like
listen,
Jett gonna be a bandwagon move.
Jett threw it out there. Jett threw it out there. Like me and Jett like this. So if Jett is suggesting something, I think I should take his advice.
It was like an invitation.
You know, literally though.
You're not hopping on. It's an invitation.
Yeah, like he's welcoming me.
Okay. I'm glad that we have that now known, that it is out there, that if Montriel it does indeed become a Chiefs fan, he's not hopping on a band to join the fan. Okay, because
exactly. I got
the optics might not necessarily be the best.
You know, starting quarterback Chiefs fan, head coach Chiefs fan. You know, it sounds like it's bound to be.
I got an XL Tyrann Matthew jersey just for you.
See, Jett, you getting me now. You getting me.
It doesn't fit me.
Okay, wait. How did you end up with the XL jersey though? I mean, I feel like people would just get you like a medium or large.
Yeah, I was in Kansas City like 4 years ago. I think that was about when I bought it, and I didn't want a Mahomes jersey. I didn't want a Kelsey jersey because for some reason I wanted to get a unique one. And I love Tyrann Mathieu, but all they had was an XL, so I got an XL. And it was about 4 months later he got traded to the Saints. So I haven't used it since. Just figured I'd get him a Mahomes jersey, play it safe this time. So now I got both.
I mean, see now, you could have did what I did. Now, fourth quarter, I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm saying this right now. I'm a tried and true. It's painful. Tried and true Pittsburgh football. We're depending on a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Okay, right. It's not their best looks right now. I get that, but I will say I do have an Isaiah Pacheco jersey. I'm a big Isaiah Pacheco guy. Now, you could have gone for something more like that. I don't know at the time I purchased the jersey because it was his rookie year. I don't know how many people had an Isaiah Pacheco jersey. I just know when you got it in the 7th round, I was happy but also mad because I'm like, see, Pittsburgh, why did we take this man? And then lo and behold, he's starting in the Super Bowl, and I just, I felt validated. But that is my one piece of Chiefs gear is I have a Isaiah Pacheco jersey somewhere in my closet currently that I've worn like one time, but I just
It'd be a good one to have. Hopefully we re-sign him. I'm not sure though. You know how the running back market is.
yeah, I wouldn't count on it. I mean, I wouldn't count on it. I'm glad for the man. I mean, I was a fan of him at Rutgers. I know nobody really watched Rutgers football, so it is what it is. But okay, well, very good. And then Jack, I don't think you had a team either, correct?
Correct. I mean, like, I know when I came to UCO, it was around the time that, like, Tom Brady and Gronk had made it to the Buccaneers and they had won the Super Bowl. But, like, that season, paying attention to them, like, I love following, like, Devin White, Levante David on that defense. But now they've got Baker Mayfield, and I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll pay a lot of attention to the Buccaneers this season, see if old Baker can stay on the revenge board and tear some stuff up.
That's who Jett play like.
Mm-hmm.
That made Jett day here and there. Y'all didn't know that though.
I mean, it sure would be nice if I could.
That way, I think the most important thing is nobody here is a Dallas Cowboys fan. That is the most reassuring thing, because right, like is bad as it is being a Steelers fan. Sure, we haven't won a playoff game in 6 years. At least we get there every year. I just feel bad for Cowboys fans that just losing every year is their year, right? And obviously, I mean, it's not their year. So I'm glad you all, at least know not to be a Cowboys fan, because that just would be tough. I just this has got to be a tough existence there. So. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you taking time on your day off to come on and chat with us and answer some questions from some of the fans out there. And so I'm wishing you the best of luck the rest of fall camp and obviously into the season. And I'm looking forward again to following the ride, following the journey as I do. And so hope you all have a great evening. To the viewers out there that stopped by, ask questions, greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you all taking time out of your busy evenings to come chat with us. And again, I look forward to communicating with you all and your support this upcoming season. So for All Americans, Montriel Lee, Jett Huff, Jack Puckett, I'm JG Smooth. We will talk to you all later.